Hello and welcome to Archived Memories, Season 2. That's right, folks. We're here and we're talking about more cards in addition to the core set that we finished in the episode prior to last.
Wait a minute. It took us how many episodes to go through all those cards, and you're telling me there's more I gotta do? You promised me. You promised me pizza. Where's the pizza, man?
Well, like most corporations, I too am a liar.
Damn, I have been owned.
So, I would also like to apologize to anybody who viewed the bonus episode of us playing Netrunner for a couple of things, and it looks like based on the views, not many people did want to watch that one. But for those that did, I do apologize for the 720p recording. Rest assured that everything within OBS told me that it was going to be recording at my native resolution of 2K. But apparently OBS is just a liar.
I guess it too is a corp.
Yep. And then also, I do recognize that being as familiar with playing the game as Neon and I are, we kind of just ran through things and, didn't really walk through our turns too effectively, kind of having, been there, done that so many times before. And we probably should have made it a little bit more entertaining for the layman to observe. So once we finish once we finish an expansion and do that again, we'll try to do better.
I mean, he might try to do better. I make no promises.
That's fair. But anyway, I reckon it's time for us to do what many thought could never be done and talk about cards that are not from the Android Netrunner core set.
Well, you want me to start us off?
Yeah, you can go ahead and kick us off.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and pop open What Lies Ahead, the first pack in what did they call this cycle? The spin? No, that was the second cycle.
The Genesis cycle.
That's the one, Genesis.
For those unfamiliar, just kind of steal your thunder here for a second, just before you go to get started. The way that Netrunner and most, if not all, other LCGs or Fantasy Flight's living card games worked is you would have the core set, then you would have a cycle of expansions. Generally, it would be 6 of them, and then there would be a big box that would start the next cycle. In Netrunner, did they cap off the cycle or did they start the cycle? I can't remember. I think they started the next cycle. It was a big box would start the next cycle.
I always interpreted it the other way around. The big box capped off a cycle.
I'll have to take a look. You can tell by the design of the big boxes, because the color and design of the big boxes matches the cycle that they're a part of.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stand by my assertion.
Anyway, I know in Lord of the Rings, because that was another LCG, kind of the only other LCG that I really kept up with in any meaningful capacity. The big boxes always started the next series.
Maybe.
Anyway, but yeah, so that's how the LCGs worked. Is there'd be a big box, then there would be a set of 6 little tiny expansions that came in cute little boxes, and then there would be a big box expansion that would have far more cards and would just generally be far more fun and exciting.
One might be led to assume that this format of a card game, where you know all of the cards that are coming in a pack and you get a full play set of each of those cards, that this would result in you not buying multiple packs of a particular type. But that's not true.
As somebody who probably owns, at this very moment, probably 2 of everything except the very last thing that ever got printed, and I was lucky to have decided to buy a scalped copy of on eBay. Yeah, definitely not the case.
Was it opening moves in the spin cycle that Jackson Howard was released in? I think I had 5 copies of that.
Oh yeah, I had at the very least 3 sets of opening moves. But
we're not here
anyway,
to talk about opening moves. We're
yep.
here to talk about what lies ahead.
And tell us, Neon, what lies ahead?
Well, it's Wizard. Wizard is a anarch identity with the subtype natural. He has 0 link and deck size of 45 and 15 influence, and his ability reads 3 recurring credits. Use these credits to trash cards. All right, Aaron. We talked at some length last time we had an anarch identity up here on our very first episode, in fact. How do you feel about Wizard in comparison to Noise?
So Wizard is weird to me in just how quickly he went from never getting played at all in any capacity to being the premier Anarch identity. And this was even prior to Noise running out, rotating
Yeah.
out.
Yep. It was, I don't know, sometime around the time assets started being really good economy cards.
Right. Well,
Beyond,
once assets started being good, then sure enough.
suddenly, Wizard had a purpose.
Yeah, no, it was almost whiplash inducing how like you would literally never fucking see this guy out of like if somebody was playing Anarch, and then suddenly this Wizard was the only Anarch identity that you saw.
With his stupid hipster hair and his glasses and his basement dweller goatee.
His frankly ridiculous collar. I've actually never stopped and looked at that thing.
It is rather popped, isn't it?
Anyway, I guess we'll get to that, but yeah, no. Wizard obviously, like I said, almost overnight became the premier Anarch identity because turns out just having free money every turn, and no small amount of free money, by the way. Having 3 free credits every turn to just trash it is actually really good.
Yeah. It's really difficult as the corp to res more than one like economy asset or other asset. Really, like any asset that isn't free, they're going to struggle to res more than one of them on a given turn. Right. And it turns out if you're trashing them every turn, that's really good for you and bad for the corp.
You know, actually, sitting here and thinking about it, I think the rise of Wizard may have came along at the same time as the rise of old Jackson Howard, because Jackson Howard 3 to trash, 3 recurring credits to trash. Coincidence?
Yeah. There was certainly some overlap for sure.
But yeah, no, I mean Wizard is just really good. Almost too good. Do you think Wizard ended up being too good?
Maybe.
But I will admit,
but on the flip side, I wonder if it's just assets that were too good.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I will admit that it did get kind of annoying to be playing against Wizards who could just trash all your shit with impunity.
Yeah, it was really depressing when you got this broke runner with 1 credit sitting across the table on you, and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to get my Adonis campaign going. And then he runs your server, and he breaks in with Faust, spending no money, and then he trashes your Adonis for free. And you're just like, well, cool. I guess money means nothing anymore.
Yeah, well, and it was a big deal, too, because it was also, it made R&D lock that much more depressing.
Yeah.
Because you could at least, say you're playing against Noise, right? If they, go for broke to get a, medium dig, right? Like, you can at least take solace in the fact that if, Noise is sitting on 2 credits, it's like, all right, well, at least he's not going to be able to trash my shit.
Yeah.
But not with Wizard.
Not with Wizard. And it's exacerbated by the fact that Anarch, because of medium, was infamous for R&D digs. And Wizard got better at those because you can, trash assets that you come across. But one of the common counters, kind of in the middle of the game's life cycle, around the time Wizard was popular, was to run Chrysium Grid as a counter to things like Account Siphon or Medium or, lots of other on-access effects. And Wizard, suddenly that 5 trash cost is a 2 trash cost, and he doesn't care.
Yeah, that's another, kind of huge point, because the recurring credits doesn't just mean that, things like Adonis and pads, or whatever become free or 1 credit. I mean, it also affects, those really enticing, huge, like big trash cost cards like San City Grid that, normally it's like 6 credits, like, oh my god. But, Wizard, that becomes 3 for him. And it's, way less of a hurdle that he has to overcome.
Yeah.
So it's really not even just about, being able to trash stuff for free. It's also like being able to trash big stuff for a not big cost is, equally huge.
Yeah, a San that's 2 to trash. Sign me up.
Yeah. Is San not 6 to trash?
It is 6 to res and 5 to trash, I believe.
Oh, that's right. I was going to say, I thought there was a 6 in there somewhere. But yeah, point is, your assets that normally had a sort of built-in protection of, a high trash cost, suddenly did not have that protection anymore against Wizard.
Yeah. And Wizard's just kind of a poser. I mean, look at this dude. I'm gonna say that there's a little bit of irony here, something that just popped into my head. Wizard, he's got their credits to trash things, right?
Sure.
Boom very famously depicts a missile flying into Wizard's bedroom window.
Yes.
Boom also has a trash cost of 1.
Mm.
Who trashes who?
I mean, guess really there's only one way to find that out, and that is within a game of Android Netrunner.
Well, I guess we know. What we know what we're doing sometime in the future. After we've covered Boom.
Yeah, in 15 years when we've covered Boom. But yeah, no. So here's the thing: is that all this being said about that, Wizard very good. Perhaps even at times, felt a little broken. What I will say though is that still not as annoying as Noise. And I maintain that Wizard, should have just been the core set identity, and they were correct when they did core 2 and got rid of Noise and just made Wizard the anime.
Okay, well, let's just not say stupid things on the podcast just to say stupid things on the podcast. All right, moving on. So
RNG card trashing is not fun and never was and never will be.
I must have imagined all that fun I had doing it. Then that's on me.
Well, unfortunately, can't speak for for other folks' mental issues.
Well, so what about Wizard? Should we? You want to read his flavor text?
Yeah. Well, one thing that you neglected to read was that he is a master gamer.
Excuse me.
Shame on you for missing that.
I thought his appearance that was self-explanatory.
Yeah. But the flavor text does read, running is the ultimate game, and I get to make all the rules.
Yeah, you want to know what I'm not sure either bothers me or makes me laugh about Wizard's flavor?
What that?
Wizard has the subtype of natural. That looks like a cyborg arm to me.
Yeah.
Gabriel Santiago has a cyborg arm, and he has the subtype cyborg. So, one of two things. Either Fantasy Flight aren't very smart and they didn't notice, or Wizard is a poser and he's just wearing a glove thing that makes it look like he has a cyber arm.
I was gonna say he might just be hooked up with the power glove.
It might just be the power glove.
Which honestly is still pretty sick. So, but no, that always did bug me too, because you could tell that it's not a glove though, because you can see like between like where the top of the hand and like the joints that's very clearly like a robot, very clearly a robot prosthetic. So, yeah, 0 to unplayable, dare I say, Fantasy Flight.
How could you do this?
How do we feel about Wizard himself, our boy here?
Wizard gets 3 recurring credits out of 5.
Well, I guess before we move on, we've been kind of missing this lately. We've been a little bit out of our groove. It might be because we don't record, but once every quarter. But would you change anything about Wizard, or do you think he's fine as he is? Like, kind of everything having been said, Netrunner having run its course, you know, should Wizard have been changed in any way?
What would you think of Wizard instead being something like gain 1 credit whenever you trash a corp card?
I think that would certainly be more reasonable. Certainly less good.
I mean, maybe less good, but then you've got things like running a wanton destruction and you trash 4 cards from their hand or something, and you gain 4 credits back.
That's true.
Or you
I mean,
trash.
Demolition Run a lot more.
It could make Demolition Run more intriguing. It could, I mean, there's synergy with Imp there, where you use an Imp token to trash something.
Yeah, I can see that. That might be more fun. I can see the argument there. If we kept just kind of Wizard as he is, I do think that maybe just 2 recurring credits to trash cards might be a little more reasonable.
Maybe it's just boring.
Yeah. Because if we're just going to keep it the way that it is, right, and just like change a number, a la, Netrunner reboot project, shout out. I feel like 2 seems a little more reasonable. Like 3's just a little
It's
too
a lot.
much.
It is a lot.
But anyway, I agree with you though. I think gaining a credit when you trash stuff would be a little more fun. All right, but back to our boy here again. How do we feel about his art? I think that
he looks like a nerd.
Yeah, well, here's the problem though: is he looks like a nerd, but he looks like a weird nerd. Like he doesn't even look like
like one of those funny smelling Magic players.
Right, but I think my problem is that he doesn't look funny smelling. You know what I'm saying? It's like they didn't. It's like his art. They did like a half measure.
Maybe he needs like a pizza sauce stain on his shirt.
Something.
And a neck beard.
Yeah. Because and his hair is too clean looking.
So this is what this is his avatar. This is what he imagines he looks like, but it's actually much less cool than this.
You got shit rough if this is your idealized version of yourself.
He sent his image into one of those AIs and asked it to make him better looking.
Also, how fucking like far back at this point in reality is his "You're likely to be eaten by a Gru" shirt? Like that's got to be like 3,000 years
that's
old a reference.
Like, that is a lot of hipster layers back in time for him.
Yeah, because that shit's obscure now.
Yeah. So. It is the best part about his art, though.
Yeah, it's true. Art, I mean, is good for what it is. I mean, all these, spoilers. All of the identities are drawn by the same person going forward, all the way up until pretty much toward the very end of the game. I think is when Matt Zellinger stops being the illustrator for the identities.
I think he's done some for Nisei, if I'm remembering right.
I want to say too that he's done commissions for the Colorado Netrunner folk that I know, and he's done some big pictures of all of them hanging out, but then drawn as like Netrunner folks, and it's pretty cool.
He does solid work.
Yeah, but yeah, no, this art is solid. As far as design goes, It like I said, he looks like a nerd, but it's almost like I said, it was like they pulled their punches a little bit, and that he's just not nerdy enough looking to me. And also, that collar is insane.
He needs to calm down.
Yeah, the longer you look at it, the crazier it gets. That collar is like no joke, a foot tall.
It's like inconveniently high.
Like insane. Gotta rate this guy, don't we?
We do.
Almost got ahead of myself. I think Wizard is a 3.
I agree. 3 recurring credits. He's not exciting. He's too strong in uninteresting ways.
Yeah, but then at the same time, he was never like oppressively annoying.
Right. Yeah.
Like Wizard never elicited the same reaction that like an Andromeda did. Like I
said, this groan of suffering.
Yeah, like you know that like this is gonna just suck. Like you're just gonna have a bad time. Now we move on to Spinal Modem. Hell yeah. Which is a Anarch hardware. It is a console. It is 4 credits to install and it's 2 influence. And it reads +1 MU, 2 recurring credits. Use these credits to pay for using icebreakers. Whenever there is a successful trace during a run, suffer 1 brain damage. Limit 1 console per player. Yeah. Why did nobody ever get a modem installed into their spine?
So we've talked in the past about numbers in this game and how numbers are important.
Indeed.
Well, 4 credits to install for 1 MU is bad numbers. That's number 1. Bad numbers. Number 2, what the heck is this brain damage nonsense? You're making me pay 4 credits for 1 memory and 2 recurring credits for icebreakers, when that's the same ratio I get out of cyber feeders, and cyber feeders don't give me brain damage. Get out of here.
Yeah, it's just here's the thing: is that 2 recurring credits to pay for using icebreakers is good.
Yep.
But having to suffer a brain damage if you fail a trace is just not a risk that's worth that on top of the 4 credits to install.
And it's worse in Anarch for a couple reasons. Like, this is a bad Anarch hardware because 1, Anarchs tend to, more than other factions, run fast and face check things.
Yes.
And so that's when you run into a random trace.
Yeah, if there were ever a faction that has that was gonna fail a trace in the middle of a run, it's Anarch.
Right. And then on top of that, what faction is more memory hungry than Anarch?
True.
Grimoire is a credit cheaper and gives 1 more memory.
And it also cannot be stated how powerful and just good Grimoire's virus token effect can be, especially this early in the game when Anarchs for a good while. I mean, they did a lot of virusy things.
They did.
And I don't know if this was sort of just attempting to, be printed with some foresight, and that this was going to be an option going forward that, to do non-virus Anarch things, but it certainly never got there. And or once Anarchs got there, this certainly wasn't the console that they were ever going to use.
Yeah, I don't know what the idea here was. Maybe someone had a thought that they were going to add like cards that interacted favorably with brain damage somehow or something, and then this is maybe more worth it. But that never happened. Spoiler alert.
Yep, so spoiler alert for the future of Netrunner, we never got a take brain damage archetype.
So yeah, this is Donkey Poo.
Yeah, this card sucks. I never saw anybody use it. I never used it. Grimoire was better when this came out, and other consoles were, way better once, Anarchs, kind of more consistently got to the point where they could do, non-virusy things.
This is not only the worst Anarch console, it's in the conversation for the worst console.
True. I'll be interested to see, because I know there's some stinkers of consoles.
There are for sure.
But yeah, this is definitely in the lower echelon of consoles for absolute certain. So what would we change about it though to make it not bad?
Number 1, make it cheap. If this was 2 credits, gave 2 MU, and had 2 recurring credits, I would think about it.
I don't think that would be too good. I mean, for 2 MU and 2 credits every turn, I mean, I feel like that's pretty strong.
Yep, but you've still got the brain damage side effect.
Fair. Okay. See, I was more leaning on maybe just keeping it the same, except for just when you install it, like you just suffer 1 brain damage.
But something like a spinal modem of, I'm gonna install my modem in my freaking spine, bro. It's gonna be so fast. And I got it on the cheap. See, that's exactly what I want to be a powerful but dangerous card. A card with a lot of upside and a lot of downside.
That's fair. Yeah, so I do think if you're going to keep the, the brain damage Tracy thing, which admittedly, is a flavorful, kind of way to go about a spinal modem. Um, yeah, I think making it 2 to install and then give 2 MU would certainly make it more worth looking at. How do we like the flavor on spinal modem?
I mean, honestly, I do kind of like it for the most part.
Yeah.
I think function to flavor works really well here. It's like you're gaining advantages for hooking the computer box directly into your spine for I don't know why that's making your latency better or whatever, but it apparently it is.
Yeah, I mean, because it just goes right up into your brainstem.
Right, and it's like this seems like a bad idea. Well, guess what?
It may well be.
Some would say so.
I do think the art is cool. I do like the art, but the longer I look at it, I'm annoyed by the middle chord that for some reason loops around the big chord. Like, why'd they do that? Who installed this spinal modem? Why'd they do that?
Someone who likes their chords to be all tangled.
If there's one series of chords that I would not want to be tangled, it's the ones that are hooked up to my spinal modem.
This is how the brain damage occurs.
Oh yeah, it's because you get tangled up. Once they succeed in a trace and you're trying to get out of dodge, you're like, oh god, my shit's all tangled.
I can't unplug it fast enough.
All right, so anyway, that actually might make the flavor even better. Anyway, what do we rate Spinal Modem?
Spinal Modem gets big fat 1.
The 1 I think is a little rough. I would give it a 2 because while it is bad, what I can say about Spinal Modem is it's not like this isn't a useless card. This is a useful card. You could put this in a deck, you could use it, and you could probably even get good positive impact out of it. And that is a lot more than can be said about a lot of other cards.
So, in a way, I agree with you. However, Spinal Modem is just badly designed specifically for Anarchs. They printed a card that is all Anarch colored and everything that is explicitly bad in Anarch decks.
Fair.
And that's stupid, and so they lose a point from me for that.
Fair. Well, I'm gonna give it a 2 because I think while it is bad, and nobody did ever use this thing because it is bad, you could certainly do worse. Like you're not actively like sabotaging your deck by putting this in it.
I suppose there are worse things you could do.
Yeah, that's that.
Well, next up we have Imp. Ooh. This is spoiler. This is one of my favorite cards.
What?
Imp is an Anarch program with the virus subtype. It is 2 credits to install. It takes up 1 memory. It is 3 influence, and it reads, place 2 virus counters on Imp when it is installed. Once per turn, you may remove 1 hosted virus counter to trash a card you access at no cost, even if it cannot normally be trashed. Okay, Aaron. Anarch has a lot of ways to trash things. Noise trashes cards off the top of the deck. Wizard has recurring credits to trash cards. Demolition Run trashes cards that you access. Imp trashes 1 card per turn, and only 2 unless you have a Grimoire. Then you can get 3 out of it. Imp's not trashing that many cards. So why did it see so much more play than Demolition Run?
Oh, I think the reason is pretty simple. In that the problem with Demolition Run is that you have to sort of go all in on Demolition Run and just be like, I am going to make this Demolition Run. And for this one time in this one instance, this one run, I have the ability to trash any cards that I see, up to the whole deck, if I happen to access it, right? But that
Mm-hmm.
is, directly, its usefulness is going to be directly dependent on how many cards you access.
Right.
While Imp is just this funky little guy, just sits around, just hangs out, isn't bothersome, takes up 1 MU, but that's easy to mitigate. Um, and you just pay 2 credits for him, and he just hangs out, chills until you find something that you really don't want the corp to have, and either don't have the ability to trash, or maybe you just don't have the credits to trash it.
Mm-hmm.
And Imp will just get rid of it for you.
What's that? Wayland is getting their Scorch combo together.
Yep. Just
Scorched
throw
Earth
that in the
into the
trash.
trash.
Yep.
Sea Source into the garbage.
Um, even a funky agenda that I don't want to have to deal with, or don't want to have to. I'll just throw it in the trash for later.
Sure, I ran this server and I accessed an NAPD contract. It's got 2 advancement tokens on it. I don't want them to get those points, so into the garbage.
Yep. But yeah, the reason why Imp is good and Demolition Run is not is a concept that we've touched on many different times throughout this series, and that is flexibility. Imp is
Mm,
flexible. Demolition Run is not.
he looks kind of fat. You wouldn't think he's that flexible, but
Well, he's got some surprises hidden under that those cyber folds. But yeah, no, I mean Imp is just good. Imp is just kind of no bones about it. It just has an effect that's flexible, doesn't demand any planning from you, doesn't demand a crazy commitment to some strategy, or even commitment to setting anything up. The most that Imp will demand from you is that if you happen to be running it and really wanting it, maybe you want to get your grimoire out first, because I will say that Imp's probably in the top 5 benefiters of grimoire.
agreed.
But I mean, makes him, it gives him a 33% increase in his effectiveness.
I like that 33% because that 33% is a card that the corp really didn't want to be in the garbage.
Yep. And another underrated thing about Imp is that once he runs out of tokens, you can sell him to Aesop.
I, mm, mwah, mwah. Music to my ears.
Yep.
So,
Then
so all right, in
Mhm.
noise, if you've got your rig up and running, like at this stage of the game, assuming like you're playing noise and what lies ahead just came out, you install Imp for 0 credits because you just paid for it with Cyber Feeder. Look at you saving money already. Incredible. Trash a card from the top of the deck because boom, it's a virus. You put an extra virus counter on it. That's 3. 1, 2, 3 on Imp. You go and run a server, and oh, there's a piece of ice that would have locked down R&D and would have made it hard for you to get in. Ooh, in the garbage. Guess I'm getting in next turn. And then you do it again. And then, after you've trashed 2 more cards, you sell them. Just like you said, you sell them to Aesop. And now, for the low cost of gaining 3 credits, you have trashed 4 corp cards.
Yeah. Crazy effective, crazy simple, and some crazy synergies to be had. Really, like right out of core, and then just with what lies ahead, right? Like if you just have core and what lies ahead, just the combo of noise, grimoire, Imp, cyber feeder, Aesop, just a great setup to have access to and to use. You're gonna get a lot
just
of mileage and
works.
a lot of effectiveness out of that kind of combo of cards.
Yep, I love it.
Yeah. Not much more to be said. I wouldn't change anything about Imp. I think that Imp is a very well designed card. It's annoying, but it was never too strong. You could always try to do some crazy stuff out of it. Once we got really late in the game, and once Anarch had their big boxes, and we had ways to like regenerate virus counters on stuff, which granted those decks were never good, but they were fun.
Yeah.
You could have like an infinite imp going on that let you trash something every turn.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah, so I mean, just fun stuff. Imp's kind of a perfect card in the sense that you can do fun, janky stuff with it. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to do fun, janky stuff with it, you could just put it in most Anarch decks, and it's just gonna be good doing what it does.
Yep, absolutely.
So, flavor.
It reads, "Something wicked this way comes."
I guess one thing I will touch on that we neglected to mention. Sorry for all the backtracking, folks, but one thing worth noting though, it does feel bad when you got the imps out and the court purges virus counters.
True.
That is the one thing where imp is like, ooh, damn, that kind of sucks.
But if you get a use out of it, the turn you install it, and they purge virus counters like for imp, I'm good, baby. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm more thinking of, if you happen to play imp, it's like, oh, you play imp, get a grimoire token on it, but then it's like you've already, say, got like a medium and a data sucker, each with a few tokens on it. Like, the imp can end up being some, like, pretty sad collateral damage from having a really souped up board state with the virus counters.
It's true. You do need to think about when you're installing it.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I'll say about imp, that it can be a very sad casualty to a purge. Anyway, something wicked this way comes. Very cool. Like that flavor text.
Yeah.
Art is really good. The art I've always felt is pretty nice.
I agree.
Gross looking little demon fella.
It looks like a cyber demon. I like this. I've always really liked him. He is sufficiently gross for the job he's doing.
Yeah. Does he have a hammer? Like, what is that, by the way, off to the
left? I believe it is some kind of hammer. Like maybe he's breaking something with it. I've never seen the full-sized art anywhere, so.
Well, Steve, if you can find it, go ahead and throw it up now. And let us know if it's a hammer or if it's something else.
Well, what do we rate it?
I rate Imp a 4.
It's a respectable number. I am going to give Imp a 5 because it's all the things I like in Anarch running.
Yeah, I figured you'd give it a 5, but and even in my my monologue where I was gassing up Imp, I was kind of even thinking like, man, is this a 5? But I don't think that Imp is as awesome as a lot of the other cards that we've put in 5, in like the that we've given a 10 on this show. Like, I don't think Imp is as awesome as Beta Test. I don't think Imp is as awesome as Stim Hack. I don't think Imp is as awesome as as a lot of those 10 cards.
I can understand that. For me, it is as beloved as those cards.
Fair enough. So Imp sitting at 9. Feel like our boy deserves it.
What's next?
Oh man. Really one of the cards of all time.
Of all the cards, this is one of them.
Dude, we have one of the cards of all time in Morning Star. Fucking not me. I certainly didn't forget that this card existed until it just flashed in front of my face. It is a and let me speak clearly here just so that you know what I'm saying. It is a 8 to install Icebreaker. It is a Fractor. It takes up 2 MU. It is 5 strength though. And it is 4 influence out of the Anarch faction. And it reads 1 credit, break any number of barrier subroutines. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Would you care to clue the audience in on perhaps why I forgot that this card ever existed?
Okay, well, on the surface, this bears some immediate similarities to Yogg, right?
Yeah.
Both have a fixed strength. They can't boost their own, though Morningstar's is substantially higher. There aren't a ton of barriers beyond 5 strength. There certainly are a few, but it's not most of them. It's 1 credit instead of 0, but it's 1 credit to break any number of subroutines. That's not bad. It's not bad. But there's 3 problems here with Morningstar. Number 1, it's 8 credits to install it. That's so much money. That's
insane.
That's 2/3 of my sure gambles. It's so expensive. Yeah, I can't be doing that. Listen, my buddy Corroder over here, pretty efficient breaker. He's 2 credits. He's two.
You can install 4 corroders in what it costs to install 1 Morningstar.
That's some pretty good math. Yeah, that's the problem. And another problem, this is two memory. 2 memory, once again, in Anarch, who is the most memory-hungry faction. This is a card which requires data suckers, because what happens if you run into Hadrian's Wall or you run into Heimdall? You need something to bring their strength down. And so you might say, okay, Isaac, well, what if I just run this in Shaper and I put it on a Dinosaurus? Okay, there's a problem there too. It's 4 influence. That's a lot of influence. That is account siphon levels of influence. And nobody is going to want this over an account siphon. Now, granted, that math only works in Shaper, but shut up. This is my analogy.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, pretty well put. This it doesn't work in basically every way.
Yeah.
Because it muscles itself out of data sucker support with the fucking 2 MU cost.
Yep.
Because this card, like you said, you need to have data sucker. But then it takes up the MU that a data sucker would. Like, so, what sense does that make? And then, like you had mentioned, it can't even be, used out of faction and maybe some other, kind of, wackier, like big rig sort of decks, because 4 influence is crazy.
It's insane.
Like, no way I'm spending 4 influence on this. Keep in mind that Corroder, really, which is pound for pound, just a way better fractor, it's only 2.
Yeah. So someone went a little crazy with the numbers here. They were like, "What if Big Hammer? What if Big Hammer?"
Dude, what if there was Young, but it was a big hammer and it smacked barriers? Like, this card is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And for all the fun we're making of it, I wanted to like this card.
Oh yeah, I wanted to too.
Oh, here's a barrier. I pay 1 credit. There's a different barrier. 1 credit. Another barrier. Uno creduto. But here we are.
Yeah, no, because Morningstar is cool. Like, the idea of Morningstar is cool. Like, this is like a prime example of a card that you see and you're like, man, I want this to work. I want to be able to use this thing, but I can't. I simply cannot.
Yeah, there's no way to make this work in Anarch decks. Believe me, I tried. It does not happen.
Yeah, I am simply not strong enough to wield the Morningstar. And I don't know that anyone ever was in the history of the game.
I mean, Dinosaurus was, but, why?
I mean, a Dinosaurus Morningstar deck would be pretty sick, but 4 influence, that's crazy. That's crazy. This should not be 4 influence. This should be 1 influence.
This should be 1 influence.
Like, if this was 1 influence, you maybe don't even need to change anything else about it, because then at least, it can, it has a fringe shaper jank application,
Yeah.
Like, dude, I could see it, I could see myself trying to make this work out of Shaper if it was 1 influence, you test run this thing, dude, test run scavenge this thing onto Dinosaurus, like, that'd be fucking sweet, but no, can't do that, because 4 influence is Just untenable.
Yeah, there's big problems.
It's not good. Yeah, I don't know that there's really much else to say about this card and why it's bad. I mean, nobody ever used it. I never saw anybody use it. I certainly tried to make it work, but never could.
Yeah, it's sad, but there's nothing there.
Yeah. So what would you change about it, though? So if you could change one thing on Morningstar to make it not doo-doo, I mean, we kind of already talked about it, right? But what would you change on it?
I mean, make it one memory, probably.
Yeah.
Two is just untenable in an Anarch deck. And especially early Anarch, where you're very reliant on viruses and everything. There's just no excuse for that.
Yeah, no good. Being the resident funky shaper jank guy, you know, lowering it to one influence might be my thing, just because then, like I said, being able to pull out, like a crazy Dinosaurus deck with this might be pretty cool. But the real answer probably is to just lower it to 1 MU, because the 2 MU is like a slap in the face. The 2 MU is like, it's like egregious. Like why you gotta do why do you gotta do that?
If I would like to ask someone because I'm really curious.
Yeah. Who has the final
successfully
say?
put this in an Anarch deck during playtesting?
Yeah.
I want to meet them.
Yeah, who was like this? This is the this is how it's got to be. I don't know. How do we feel about its flavor?
Weaponizing the heavens, 1 star at a time. I mean, it's fine. The flavor text is kind of neither here nor there for me. The theme of it, I kind of like. It's a big old morning star. It breaks through barriers. Like, we made fun of it, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like it's fun.
But yeah, the rest of it's doo-doo.
Yeah, fun flavor, pretty cool art. Other than that, completely poopy card.
Yep.
This card, I think, it has to get a 1 for sure. I'm not gonna give it a 0 because it's not like, while it is bad and trying to run this, you would definitely be sabotaging yourself trying to make it work.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not just a complete and utter like irredeemable piece of garbage.
Yeah. I think I'm actually gonna give it a 2.
Oh.
Just because I kind of like it anyway. It is caca.
It's dumb. It sucks, but you know what? I still like it. I still kind of like. You know what? I respect that, honestly.
It's my cousin with an extra chromosome.
Yeah. You know what? I respect that. I respect the call of just being like, you know what? This is stupid and it sucks, but I still kind of like it.
Yeah.
You know what? All right. I almost want to bump that up to a 2, but I'll keep it at a 1. We'll let Morningstar enjoy the 3 that it gets cumulatively.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Does feel kind of bad that I don't think Spinal Monum is as bad as Morningstar. That maybe doesn't sit right with me, but
I think
neither here nor there.
I think on paper it's not as bad, but trying to make it work in real life, it is as bad.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, our last card of the episode here. We are going to move into another card that I forgot existed. Which, always a good sign, right? But it'll get us into the criminal cards of the pack. And it is a Cortez chip, which is a hardware chip. Surprising, I know. And it is a 0 to play, hardware that reads: trash. Choose a piece of ice. The corp must pay 2 credits as an additional cost to res that ice until the end of the turn. And it is 2 influence out of criminal. Neon, or Isaac, whatever it is you would like to be called. Why did I forget even more that Cortez chip existed in Morningstar?
Wow. So you know how not great Cortez chip is? This is a criminal card with a trash cost effect that didn't even get put in Geist decks.
That yeah, no, that's fair.
Okay, so Cortez chip, you gotta put this in your deck first of all. We're talking about what this card costs us to run. You gotta put it in the deck.
Yep.
It's 0 credits, so there's that for it. At least they don't make us pay for this garbage. Next, you gotta spend the click to install it. Like all cards, you gotta actually play it.
Yep.
This card, in best case scenario, best possible case scenario, is a click to prevent the corp from rezzing a piece of ice that they need to res to keep you out. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, it does nothing at all because they didn't need to res that ice anyway. Most commonly, it costs them 2 credits. You just spent a deck slot to cost them 2 credits. You know what you could have done instead? You could have put an economy card in your deck. You could have put another way to recur an account siphon and cost them more money than that. You could have put an emergency shutdown in your deck. You could have done so many things that aren't Cortez chip. And you know what? You did. You did do all those things because you're not stupid. That's why you forgot it existed, because you're not dumb.
You know what? You're giving me a lot of credit there, but yeah, I mean, I think you really laid it out as black and white as it can get laid out. This is just not a good effect to dedicate the existence of a card to. Like you said, in most cases, all this is going to do is going to be a 2 credit tax on the corp that you spent 1/4 of your turn and a slot in your deck. And really, if you want to get really nerdy and sweaty about it, you can even say that it costs 2 click because you do have to spend the click to draw it.
Yeah. There is that. There's somebody who's watching is going to comment that if we don't point it out. So
I might go on a bit of a tangent here, but oh my dude, I hated people who were like that. Who are like, actually, you have to consider that it's a click to draw the card. It's a click to draw every card. Shut up.
what about the 5 you start with?
Like, dude, like it's such an annoying like a point or piece of math to try to like add into like the runner economy. Like, dude, you have to click to draw every card. Like, shut up. I know you have to spend a click to it. Like, stop like using that as part of like your equation of like the effectiveness of cards. Like, yes, you have to spend clicks to draw cards as a runner. We know that. Like, it's not like there's cards where you just don't have to do that. Like, so dumb. Anyway,
how long have you been holding that rant in?
I don't know. I kind of forgot until just now that annoyed me so much when people tried to include that as like their runner math or whatever. It's like, dude, yes, the runner has to click to draw. We know that. The rules say that.
The awkward part is when I was ranting about its costs, I thought about adding that click into the whole costs there. I thought about it.
But anyway, yeah, point is, and really, like you said, like a huge indictment is that, Geist, when he came out, you were trying to fill that fucker with every semi-useful trash effect you could find.
What's this card? It's got a trash effect. Put it in.
Put it in. Throw it in there. But not Cortez chip. It's like one of it's like I like to imagine that Geist is just like letting a bunch of people into his clubhouse, and he's like, "You're in. You can go in. You can go in. Yep. Wait. Cortez chip.
Whoa.
Nah, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah. I don't know who thought this was good.
Yeah, it's not. It's like a bad effect, but then it's like not even like a funny bad effect. It's just like it's just bad. Like, oh, 2 credits.
2 credits. Spooky.
Oh no! Like the effect is that you're dedicating all this to hopefully be able to mess up the corp's math on being able to protect a server.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the problem is that there's going to be a lot of circumstances where the corp either has way less or way more than all the ice they needed to res.
Oh man, but Aaron, what if you installed 3 of them, bro? What if you installed 3 of them and you trashed them all?
Oh my god! Ah!
Except, you know what? You know what? I think I didn't spend enough time on when ranting about this. It's one piece of ice. You choose one piece of ice, and it's that ice is more expensive. Good golly!
It's not even because I don't even think it would be
ice or anything. It's just that one.
Yeah, just this ice that I'm pointing at. Because even if it affected all ice for the turn, I don't even know that it would still be worth running even then. But at least that would be okay.
I mean, if it was all ice during a turn, there might be a case for it. But
or I guess like you said, the first piece of ice they res in the turn, I guess, is more what I meant.
Okay. Yeah. So this is stinky. What would you do to fix it?
Hard to say. Honestly, I feel and this might sound crazy, but I think it would reach the level of worth considering if it was 5 credits. I know that sounds insane, but
something like that would definitely be more worth considering. All right, hold on. Let me lay something on you. Some of the best criminal cards, well, not best mechanically maybe, but most fun criminal cards, I think, are ones that present the corp with just, here's 2 bad choices. What if instead it's something like, trash, the first piece of ice the corp reses this turn costs 2 credits more. At the end of your turn, if the corp has not resed any ice, gain 2 credits.
Interesting, okay. Could see it. So I was trying to think maybe if you could implement maybe a wackier effect that you can trash it to choose a piece of ice. The corp must either res that ice, and paying 2 credits as an additional cost. If they don't, you may initiate a run directly after that ice.
This feels like a janky forged activation orders.
Yeah, but I don't know. I was just trying to think of something wacky,
Sure, which it's probably worth mentioning that one of the things they were probably thinking about with this is in combination with forged activation order. Okay, sure. I'm going to pile these up. I know what that piece of ice is there because I still have infiltration in my deck at this point, and I'm going to play a forged activation orders and bankrupt them to res a useless piece of ice over archives or something.
Yeah,
but you know what?
That's just not.
That's still caca.
Yeah, it's not good. Because then you got to put forged activation orders in your deck, which you probably don't want to do either.
Yeah.
Which forged activation orders still a better card than this.
True.
But yeah, honestly, I think the easiest way to make this more useful is, honestly, I might even make it not be would it be any better if it wasn't a trash effect? And no, because then it wouldn't even have the synergy with Geist and stuff. Because I was thinking maybe instead of trashing, if it was just whenever you encounter a piece of ice, you may. No, but that's still effectively the same thing. Never mind. My gears are turning, but yeah, I think I would just make stuff cost more.
Yeah, there might be something worthwhile there.
But as is, this card sucks. You want to read the flavor text?
Sure. Named after Hernando Cortez, who's definitely not a conquistador, a former Wayland technician convicted of smuggling company tech. He still collected his pension while in prison, the last beneficiary of a loophole in Wayland's standard employment contract.
Huh.
Thanks for the history lesson, everybody. Nobody cared.
Yep.
I don't know. Some flavor text that's giving history and context is interesting. This put me to sleep.
Yeah, this is
he collected a paycheck from prison.
Whoa, he was in prison, but he still got money? Crazy. Card still sucks, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it do.
Art's not bad, though.
It's fine. It's a cyber chip with a cyber glove.
I was gonna say I like the cyber gloves. Those are kind of
in a cyber envelope.
Those are kind of yeah. I do like how even an envelope just has some extra cyber flair to it. That is actually kind of funny. I had not even really considered that even the envelope just has like just a little extra edginess. It's a edgy, futuristic envelope.
Because everybody knows you get the special looking envelopes.
Did you know what I like? My
To move
headcanon?
around your smuggled goods.
My headcanon is that this is Wolverine from the X-Men opening. This chip, because if you look on the gloves, it looks like it has those little openings for Wolverine's claws. Which some Marvel nerd is going to be like, actually, Wolverine's claws come out of the top of his hands. They don't come out at his knuckles. Shut up. But yeah, gloves are cool. Envelope's cool.
Now I know what to get you for Christmas then.
Yep, some cool gloves and a cool envelope. Cortez chip gets a 0 from me.
Yeah, it's a 0. This is useless and boring.
Yeah, arguably, I mean, as we said it before, really the most heinous of crimes that a card can commit is be really shitty and boring.
Yep.
Like shitty and not even in like a funny way.
I could have rolled all of the Cortez chips in that I got, and I think I had 2 copies of What Lies Ahead as a pack. I could have rolled them all up and smoked them, and they would have been more useful.
Yeah. Anyway, that's our industry standard 4 cards reviewed. What is exciting about going through the data packs now, though, is that we'll get through a pack every 4 episodes. So kind of that feeling that we got from completing the core set, we'll be able to get that at a much faster rate.
Yeah, but will it just be like a heroin hit or a stim hack, where each successive one it just doesn't give me that same high that I once experienced?
Well, we'll certainly never have to worry about you getting too used to that, because at our current recording schedule of once every 687,000 years, I don't think you'll build up any sort of tolerance to it. So,
Thank goodness. Then I'm doing my job.
yep, and somebody around here does, because it sure as hell isn't Steve. Haha.